We're back. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, Eric. Life is good.
Where's
I
the shades?
you know what? I left them in the car as I tried to just crawl my way into the house today after thinking I was a little younger than I really was.
Yeah, yeah. You know
I'm
what?
I'm no Sergeant MVP. I can't get out there and play in those games still.
This is true. This is true. Phone lines are open 567-483-1999. We're gonna party like it's 1999 tonight. You know why? Because we are 2 days away from the spring game. Really, we're only like a day and a half.
That's right. That's
Day and a
right.
half from the spring game. Um, Chris, looking forward to spring game. Our
Mhm.
tailgate's going to be at the spring game. We're going to tailgate before and after because that's how we're going to roll. I looked it up. I sent you the pictures of where the parking lots are open. We are either going to be just if you're looking at the horseshoe from the north end zone, the parking lot to the left, so the northeast parking lot is open. So we might look to get in there, or we're going to be in the parking lot by St. John Arena, one of those two places. We will let all of you know where we're located
When we get
through,
down there, like what 5 in the morning?
well, not that early, but pretty early. And we set up. We'll get a picture. We'll post a picture on our Twitter and Facebook page. So that means if you're not already, please follow us on either Twitter or Facebook. You can follow us at Twitter at the OHIO Pod, and you can follow us on Facebook at the Ohio Podcast. You can also find us on our website, theohiopodcast.com, where Chris and myself both wrote excellent articles today for you to read. Chris was talking about previewing the upcoming spring portal season, I guess we can call that. What potential Buckeyes might be looking to jump in the portal. I wrote about Ohio State basketball. Jake Diebler did something that Chris Holtmann didn't do in 7 years as head coach. He landed a five-star recruit. His first recruit he landed 2026, Marcus Johnson, five-star out of Northeast Ohio. Garfield Heights. He is the cousin, I believe, of Michi Johnson, who he landed
Mhm.
from the portal. So little Johnson and Johnson,
Yeah.
a little Johnson and Johnson family affair going to happen there in Columbus the next couple seasons. So good on him for Jake Diebler doing that. Chris, we got some things to talk about tonight. And again, the phone lines are open 567-483-1999 is the numbers. We want to talk to you guys tonight, get your feelings about the spring game. Want to know what you're looking for, what you're excited about. If you're planning on going, we're going to be there. We want to meet you and talk to you about the Buckeyes. Chris, let's start here tonight.
Hmm.
Ryan Day was asked a lot on, I guess, yesterday, which would have been Wednesday, about the quarterbacks. You and I just had an excellent interview
Hmm.
with the guys from Cocaine Willie, the K State, our a sister affiliate on the College Huddle. And let's do this. If you haven't heard and you haven't watched the big announcement, the College Huddle was launched. Here's our commercial from the College Huddle.
In this new era of college football, where old fashioned media just won't cut it, I'm proud to present a new voice for college football fans, the College Huddle, your number one source for fan driven college podcasts.
So the College Huddle launched, and a part of that was the K State podcast, Cocaine Willie, who we had on as our special guest, and we got to break down Will Howard like nobody's business. And they were able to do something for you and for me and
Hmm.
a lot of other listeners and fans of the Buckeyes who we've heard from since that video was released last night. Will Howard is going to be all right. He's going to do good at Ohio State. They are confident we're going to fall in love with this guy and the game he brings. So, that being said, Ryan Day was asked about Will Howard, and he answers He has a very interesting answer. But then he was also asked about Julian Sain, and he admitted that Julian Sain is competing right alongside Will Howard and Devin Brown for the starting quarterback position. Do I think Julian Sain's going to win it? No, I don't. But I have a theory that we will address after we listen to this audio clip of Ryan Day talking about Will Howard, and then right after that, Julian Sain. It's about 2 minutes long.
He's in the mix. He is. Yeah, he's Chip really rolls them. It doesn't matter if the ones, twos, and threes. So you get an opportunity to see what guys look like. I think sometimes maybe when you're young, you get the three work, and sometimes it can look like a mess out there. And so this has been a really good sample size to figure out where guys are at. But Julian's been competing his tail off, and he'll continue to do that. And he's got a very bright future, and he's got to have a really good summer. We haven't really talked about that very much, but his experience is definitely showing. I think that he's played a lot of football before, and I think his combination on the field of being able to extend plays with his feet, run in the run game, pull the ball. We've seen that happen before, and then be accurate with in the pocket, throwing the ball, play action on the move. All those things put stress on the defense, and so. We're trying to put him in the most difficult situations we possibly can. Third down, third and long, second and long, different situations, just to see how those guys respond, just like everybody else. But one thing about Will is he's working really hard. He's in the building early. He's in the building late. He's putting a lot of work in. You can just see that. I think the guys see that. And, another part of all those quarterbacks is, what do the guys think? What do the receivers think? What does the offensive line think? And I think he's done a really good job of trying to win those guys over. I think all the quarterbacks have, but you definitely see the hard work there. You see the experience and you see the ability. I think every practice that he's out there, he's learning the offense.
So I had him backwards. Sorry, Julian Sain was first. It was a shorter comment than Will Howard, but interesting that Chip Kelly's rolling them with the ones too. What do you think about that, Chris?
I like it. I like the fact that he's come out and said, hey, Julian is in the mix. But I'll tell you what, he mentioned the 1, 2, and 3s, and he's talking about Will Howard, Devin Brown, and Julian Sain. No real mention there of Lincoln Kienholz. I mean, I know he did mention him at one point in the press conference, but, specifically when he was talking about getting these guys all game time reps so that they didn't end up in the same situation they had in the bowl game, which I will to this point, I will give Ryan credit for this. He basically came out and admitted, we screwed up. We didn't have him ready. It wasn't his fault. And I think that maybe he was taking some of the blame for that in the hopes of either keeping Lincoln there or letting people understand why the transfer is going to happen. But irregardless, I love the fact that they are rolling these guys through all three through the first team reps. I think that's huge because I think there's probably also some concern that maybe they're going to lose their number 2 as well. I don't want to think that's the case. I really don't. But just how much has Julian Sain gained ground on these guys if he's rolling with the number 1s?
I don't think you're wrong, Chris. I do believe that there's a very real possibility that Chip Kelly's design in practice with the quarterbacks is him realizing I might need more than 1 or 2 this season, and that was a failure on Ryan Day's part last year once Honda McCord left.
Well, and Ryan even acknowledged, 2 things. One, last time we won a national title, it was the third string guy that did it. The other thing that he mentioned was the fact that, yes, we are going to run our quarterbacks some this year. So you have to have guys ready in case there's an injury, which obviously, I mean, I don't think it was a shot at anybody, but we have seen that Devin Brown's durability has not been the best in the past.
Right. The read option is going to be a real part of this offense.
It will be.
And Will Howard, advantage Will Howard.
Absolutely.
And Ryan Day pretty much said as much when he was answering the question about how Will Howard has looked at this point so far in practice and in spring. He acknowledges that Will Howard's legs are a weapon and it's a threat in the offense that maybe we didn't necessarily have last year under McCord. Now, when Devin Brown was in the game, that was a different story, especially inside the red zone. But like you said, Chris, and it's a very valid point, he's often injured. And I think maybe that's in the back of Ryan Day's mind. What also is in the back of Ryan Day's mind, in my opinion, is the fact that if he gets late into the season and the back's up against the wall, a la Alabama with Jalen Hurts and
He won't be afraid to run Julian out there.
Tua Tagovailoa when he was a freshman, and Hurts isn't getting the job done, and they're falling behind. He cannot be afraid to pull the trigger and go with the freshman, and I think that has a lot to do with what is going on with Julian Sain. He's admitting, in a way, we need to have this kid available and maybe ready if the time calls, and we're not doing what needs to be done with the veterans and they're not getting the job done. I'm not going to be afraid to go with the young gunslinger.
And he's going to get playing time, Eric. He's going to get in-game playing time. We have 3 games to kick off the start of the season.
We have Michigan's schedule from last year.
Yes, we do. We have I hate to call any team a cupcake, but we got some cupcakes at the beginning of this year.
Although Notre Dame might argue with you that Marshall might not be a cupcake.
Well, I don't even want to go down that route. They're not only a cupcake, but they got big fluffy frosting. That's what they are.
Oh, shoot. 740-398. I'm sorry about giving my number again. 567-483-1999 is the call-in number tonight. We want to hear from some of you. Brian Oberst is in the house. Sad to see Dallas Hayden leaving. Think he could have played a huge role for us, too. For us to keep Henderson and Judkins healthy and fresh for playoff pushes. Yes, but don't sleep on James Peoples.
And I'll tell you what, or TC Coffee.
I'm not against a cup of coffee in the fourth quarter. I'm not.
No. I'll tell you what, from everything I'm hearing, there may be a little something to the reason that Downs leaving as well there, because these guys were pushing. These 2 guys have looked tremendous in spring, as has our other freshman running back from what I'm hearing. And, you heard Ryan mention it. I can't think of the kid's name now.
The young man from Pickerington. Yep.
Yeah.
West Holmes before that. Yep. Jeremiah Yoder's also in the house. Do we know who's starting for the Scarlet team and who's starting for the Gray team? It's not Scarlet and Gray. It's one versus one's offense versus defense. So my guess will be the offense will be in Scarlet and the defense will be in Gray. That's my guess. I think that's what they did last year. First quarter is thud tackling, so it's glorified 2-hand tap. That is because we do not want any of the starters injured. Once the first quarter is over, they're going to go to the second string specialty guys. Maybe not second string offensive line and defensive line, but the second string receivers and running backs and those guys, quarterbacks.
Your skilled positions. Yeah.
Yeah, your skilled positions. And then tackling begins, and it's tackling for the rest of the game. Fourth quarter will basically be your walk-ons and guys who might be entering the transfer portal, who I think he's going to play. Yes, he's going to play them, Brian, which is this next question. I wouldn't play anyone that will be leaving. I tell them to pack and go now. I agree, Brian, but Ryan Day is going to give them their game if they haven't left already. And I did hear today that Lincoln's pushing back on those rumors a little bit. So he might not be leaving.
I'm not buying it. I hope the kid doesn't go, but I'm not buying it.
Jeremiah, Marshall beat Notre Dame on their field after Ohio State beat them. True. This is true. That did indeed happen. All right, Chris, you ready to go to this next one? You know
Let's
I'm
do
ready
it.
to go to this next
I
one.
know you're pumped for this one, Eric.
All right, our boy Carlos Lachlan. Can we call him our boy? I know he's
By
your
the
boy already.
way, let me just tell you, I was watching that interview, Eric, and my God, the man has no neck. He is just muscle up here.
I woke up to go work out, and Ryan texted me, and I woke my wife up, and I said, "Look at this," and she said, "I don't know who that is." Love that. That was great.
But I was excited.
But I was excited, like a Christmas kid on Christmas.
I love it.
All right, this is an interesting comment, and I'm going to explain to you why in just a second. Why I find this incredibly interesting.
Uh-oh, spoiler. You're not going to let it leak, are you?
I'm not going to let it
It's
leak
behind
all
the
the way.
paywall.
I'm just going to keep teasing it because it's worth it.
It's behind the
It might be
paywall.
my greatest video of all time. Check it out, guys.
I get the best out of them because I love the young men. My main focus is to change the hearts and minds of them, and they'll play for me. I had just got through reading Coach Tressel's winner's manual, and it's something that I took from that book. You have your purpose and you have your goals. All right, my purpose is to serve and pour into the young men. Now, my goals as a football coach, all of them will take care of themselves. So that's one of the ways. I'm just real relationship based, and I'm very detailed at this position. I know y'all heard me say it before, and I'm gonna keep saying it. This is the worst coach position in football. It's terrible. Guys hire anybody to coach this position and recruiters. Carlos Lockle's not a recruiter. I'm an elite relationship builder, but I coach this position. I'm a ball coach. So that's who I am. So I'm going to pour into these kids. I think they kind of seeing it now. And I jumped in day one. I'm ready to coach.
I am an elite relationship builder. I love this.
This guy is incredible.
We could run
He
sound
is
bites of this
awesome.
guy for days, Eric.
All day long. Like he is a walking motivational.
Yeah.
Like it's just incredible. It is incredible. Brian, Ole Miss. That's an interesting
Well, I
one.
mean, they do have a spot open.
Little tick for tack, little trade. TTUN, I just can't see it.
I will say this. I believe we won that trade if he does end up at Ole Miss.
Yeah. The way Tony Alford mishandled him,
I'd take that very
why?
personally. Yeah.
I don't know. I hope we're wrong about that one, buddy. I hope we're wrong. Yeah, Jeremiah. Let's go. I'm ready to go play right now. I know. This guy, Carlos Lachlan, is just amazing. Now, Chris, did you notice what book he mentioned he read?
That would be Jim Tressel's Winner's Guide.
Winner's Manual.
Winner's Manual, I'm sorry.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Is that Jim
You
Tressel's
know what?
Hitchhiker's Guide to Coaching Football? I'd read that.
Yeah, anything that Tress writes is going to be a good read.
Yes,
Just take it at that.
Absolutely.
Tress can lay out that game plan for you. I'm telling you.
Okay. Do you think this feeds right into my theory? Do you think when Carlos Lachlan said, "Coach, I'm in," Ryan Day said, "Great." Reading material on the flight from Eugene, Oregon to Columbus, Ohio is going to be Jim Tressel's Winner's Manual.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. I think that
This is
like I
the
said,
fourth. This is the fourth time, Chris.
I'm just saying.
Once, okay. Twice, now my ears are perked up. 3 times, I've got a theory. 4 times, it's not a theory anymore.
He is the man who resurrected the program, Eric. He's the man who resurrected the program.
We're not going to say anything more about this. If you're not a member yet, $3.99. Go join. It's right there on our YouTube page. The join button. Go to our YouTube page, hit the join button, $3.99. You become a member. You're going to get a t-shirt after you've been a member for a month, all right? Official member. I'll send that to you in the mail. We'll be in touch. We'll get your address, send it to you in the mail, and then the very first thing you should do is go watch the video that Chris and I have for members only about the theory between Ryan Day, Jim Tressel, and the national championship offseason we are having. It is no longer a theory. It was confirmed today, this week. Confirmed. I'm telling you, just go check that out. Sean Strock's in the house. What's up, my man? He's saying hi to Brian Oberst. Good to have you. Does that mean Scoop's wrapping up and the Scoopers are coming in tonight? Oh, about ready to
I do
warm
love when our
things up.
scoopers come to join us.
Absolutely. 567-483-1999 is the call in if you guys want to give us a little ring and chat about the spring game. Chris, what are you excited to see at the spring game? What are you going to be looking for, my man?
The big thing, and I talked about it before, the big thing I'm going to be looking at is that offensive line. I think we still have questions on the right side. There seems to be some going back and forth. Is Montgomery going to be in there? I know that this week at practice they actually had Hinsman and our transfer center from Alabama, Seth
McLaughlin.
McLaughlin. They had both of those guys playing a little bit at the guard this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we got some questions at right guard still.
I think center and guard are really that. Fryer's starting right tackle. Pretty much Ryan Day confirmed it.
And I don't think they're worried about the left guard too much. In fact, for everything I'm hearing, Jimmy, don't call me Josh Simmons is
left tackle. Mm-hmm.
Is left tackle, but he's also looking pretty good. He's thinned down. He's playing more athletically. He seems to be gaining a little bit more comfort with the system. So there seems to be some positive things coming out about him, and we're not at all worried about Donovan Jackson at that left guard spot. So
right.
I really feel like, if everything that we're hearing out of camp is true, once they secure who they're going to start at that right guard spot, this offensive line should be decent. And that's what we need. If we have a good offensive line, it doesn't even have to be great, but it does have to be good. It has to be good. We have to have some, the road graders, as you like to call them, in there who can open up some holes for this running back talent, a very talented running back room.
They don't even have to be big holes.
No, you just got to give these guys a sliver of light.
Yes.
And these guys will hit the hole hard and go.
Move them a little bit, and these guys will get through the hole and make things happen. We can't get pushed off the ball.
That's it. We've got to move forward.
Yes.
We have to be the aggressors, which I think is something that we have lacked a little bit in the past, where we've become so adept at taking that step back and going to pass pro that we've forgotten how to be the aggressor and just throw people around. That's what we need to see. But obviously, I think there's a couple big things to watch. One's going to be the quarterback situation. But who is not excited to see Jeremiah Smith out there, see what he's going to do? And then I am very excited to see this revamped defense with the guys who have moved around. We know how athletically gifted guys like Sonny Styles are. How's the transition going into the linebacker room? How many packages are we going to see with maybe 3 linebackers? What's going on with C.J. Hicks?
You're not going to.
We're not going to see this stuff at the spring game. I know,
right.
but even if CJ gets into play a little, just see what his game is right now. I know that in practice they've used him a lot, primarily as a pass rusher. But I want to see how his actual skills are at linebacker. And as far as defense goes too, Caleb Downs. I'm excited to see how this kid impacts the team. There's a million different stories we could go with, Eric.
you can't get too excited about the starters because
Because you're going to see him for a series, maybe two.
yeah, it's going to be very Manila. It's going to be uh yeah, it's going to be watered
But you
down.
know what? It doesn't have to be more than a play or two when you got guys out there making plays like Jeremiah Smith does.
Yeah.
Every play is going to be exciting when that guy takes the field.
Everything in the spring game is all about the second string, in my
Yes,
opinion.
it's about developing your second and third string, getting the 2 and 3 deep set.
Sean, I'm not sure what offensive tackle you're talking about, but I know this much. Ryan Day said as much. If they're gonna pick anybody up
It's going to be a guard.
well, and it's gonna be a backup. It's not
Yeah.
a starter. He's rolling with it what he's got. He has reiterated that 3 times now in his interviews this spring. We're rolling with what we have. So
Which, I love that confidence. But we went with that theory last year and it didn't work out so good. I mean,
well, they
yes,
went
we
and
brought
got
in Simmons, but
yeah, and that didn't go so good.
that may actually have been one of the reasons for this. When you look at what a tough time he had, I think, becoming accustomed to the system. Like I said, how many times did he get away with false starting? How many penalties did he have? I mean, I think that may be part of the reason why Ryan wants to go with the guys he's got in house.
I'm scrolling through USC's portal people right now. See if I can find this offensive lineman he's talking about. The last one I see here that is an offensive lineman that jumped in the portal that doesn't have a home
Now,
yet is Andres DeWork, but that was January 3rd, and he still hasn't landed anywhere.
now, I think he may, yeah, and Andres DeWork, maybe who he's talking about.
That was a while ago. That's January. He said it just happened.
Well, says 2 days ago he entered. Did he maybe come out and then go back in?
I don't know. It's not on their page yet.
Oh, wait a minute.
But...
The portal's not even open for the spring transfer
Oh
yet.
yeah, so it technically wouldn't even be on this page. That's true. Good point. Anyways, so getting back to what we were talking about, you might have something there that we don't know about, Sean. I appreciate that feedback. If you could let us know who it is, I'd like to look him up. But I just don't think Ryan Day is he's gonna roll with what he's got. And if it's gonna be anybody, it's gonna be depth backup. At this point, is basically it's gonna be a tick for tack replace. If we lose somebody, we're gonna replace that with a warm body. So I am going to be very interested, Chris, to watch Jeremiah Smith in the horseshoe with probably somewhere around 80,000 people. Somewhere between 70 and 80,000.
It's supposed to be so nice, Eric. It wouldn't surprise me if they
Well, they
get 100.
had 50. They only had 50,000 plus tickets sold so far.
But again, you may have a lot of walk-ups on Saturday. Yeah. You're talking 68 degrees and sunny now. They've got the forecast.
Oh, it's gonna be beautiful. But my point being is this will be the first time Jeremiah Smith's done this in front of this many people. Let's see, it's one thing to do it in practice. It's one thing to do it in practice, but the hype train left the station weeks ago. We just talked a week ago, Chris, calling him possibly not only the best wide receiver at Ohio State this season.
Best receiver in the nation, I'm telling you right now.
Best receiver in the nation as a true freshman. That's the kind of hype this guy's got. And everybody's saying it's for real. Let's watch him under the lights in the shoe. Let's see him do it. I want to see it. Don't fall flat.
They're mentioning
what you got.
They're mentioning Optimus Prime in the same breath with Megatron. So
Optimus Prime, baby. Hey, it's much better name than Megatron, in my opinion. All right, and they're here. Here they are, Donald.
Here come our scoopers.
Scoop Nation in the house. Weather's nice. A lot of walk-ups. Jim agrees with you. Brian Oberst, I plan on being there with my family. Awesome. Swing by the tailgate, brother. Um, Love to talk to you, man. Again, follow us on Twitter, Facebook. We will post pictures exactly where we are going to be located for the tailgate, which will be before and after the game. We're going to be there before. We're going to be there right after. In fact, we plan on grilling out and hot dogs and hanging out after the game. We'll be one of the last people to leave because I don't want to fight that traffic leaving the place. I'm just going to hang out. Donald, J.J. Smith will be a beast and better than Marv Jr.
We're putting a lot of pressure on that young man now.
I like you calling your shot, though, man. I like you calling your shot. Sean, his name is Jason Zandamela. That's a sweet last name. There we go. We need to look him up. Jason Zandamela. Go and look him up, Chris.
I'm all over it. I'm all over it.
You mentioned the offensive line, Chris, that you're going to be looking for. That is something we need to be watching as well when they roll out at the beginning in the first quarter. Who's at center? Who's at right guard? Can you read into it 100%? No. But if it truly is what they believe the starting lineup will be come the end of August, then I want to know who they have right now at that position going into the game. So I'm going to be looking for that. On the other side of the ball.
Okay, just so you know, he is actually an interior offensive lineman. He was the USC's highest rated offensive line recruit in their 2024 class.
So he's a true freshman.
Yeah.
Then if he's brought in, he's not going to be a starter. I'll tell you that much. So yeah, I could see him.
But I'll tell you what, I'll take that for some depth.
Well, here's the thing: we don't need interior offensive linemen. We need tackles. We've got center covered, and we got interior linemen covered. We need tackles.
We do. We got a couple of brothers who came in who are going to be trying to push for that next year.
One of them.
Oh yeah, one's a guard and one is a tackle, right? Yeah.
But they're twinsies, so when one grows, the other one seems to grow.
That's right. We put them both out there.
Here's the thing. Flipping over to the defensive side of the ball. Let's talk that for a second. You brought up the linebackers and the athleticism. Let's talk defensive line. It was a year ago, you and I came away from the spring game, and we had this question. Is our defensive line that good, or is our offensive line that bad? And the verdict on that question, the answer to that question was the offensive line was that bad. They made the defensive line look better in the spring game than they truly were because of how bad the offensive line was. I want to see the offensive line step up in this spring game and not allow the defensive line to dominate, at least the starters. If you recall, it was so bad, Chris, the starters were in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Spring game.
Yeah.
And we're still getting dominated and beat by our backup defensive lineman, and we never rushed a linebacker the entire game. It was 4-on-5, and they dominated the offensive line. And you and I both walked away from that going, there's an issue. And that issue persisted the entire offseason and summer, into the fall, into the season, all the way down to the stinking Cotton Bowl when they got absolutely embarrassed in Texas by Missouri, which, by the way, I had to podcast with the Missouri guy from the Woodswater, Mizzou for the College Huddle this week. And what you know, he mentioned it again.
Well, he's a little spunky. He got on our show the other night and mentioned it.
Yes. And it's embarrassing.
But you know what? We can't criticize them. They earned their bragging rights. So all we can do is go out there and make them. We just go out there and shut them up.
Okay, what am I missing here?
It would be a shame if BMM called in.
BMM? Who are you talking about, Dylan? Who's he? Oh, Big Mac Mary. It took me a second, Dylan. It took me a second.
Big Mac Mary's not interested. Aaron isn't here.
Yeah. Come on.
Big
Yeah.
Mac Mary loves herself some Aaron.
All right, let's get back on my rant here. Thanks for distracting me there, Dylan, with your cowboy hat. Um, the O line must be better this year. Donald and Karen, yes, it has to be. If Ohio State is going to take that next step, get to the college football playoff, make a run, get to the national championship game, compete against the Georgia or whoever they end up playing in that game, and possibly winning a national championship game, the offensive line has to, as Chris's words, be good. They don't have to be great. We are great on so many other levels at different places on this team, but the offensive line has to be good. They have to be.
Specifically, and I mean, obviously in the passing game, but specifically in the running game, we have got to throw people around. Dylan, let me tell you, we haven't forgotten the Boilers are coming in, and you know what? I absolutely am not losing any sleep about that.
All right, so Jeremiah, after the way last season ended, what the Buckeyes need to do is to make the doubters eat their own words.
Yes, sir. But it's going to take until the end of the season to do that, because even if we beat Oregon, we're going to hear claims of, well, it's not last year's Oregon.
Right.
But what has to happen,
Even if we beat that team up north, we're going to hear it. Which, by the way, let's talk about them next if we don't get a phone call.
yeah,
Phone lines are open, 567-483-1999. If no one calls, I'm gonna give you my team up north take real fast. But even if we beat them,
it's got to be
hear
done in the
people say
playoff. It's got to be done in the playoff.
it's not Harbaugh's team. It's not, it is in a lot of ways, it's put up or shut up, man.
Exactly. Exactly.
The hot seat is hot. It's hot for a reason. It's put up or shut up. It's crap or get off the pot time for Ryan Day. You've been given every advantage as the head coach of Ohio State that you possibly could be given through NIL, through support of the university, through this fan base. Fan base chipped in hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the guys here that we were afraid we weren't going to get, in Jeremiah Smith and Edric Houston.
You got the coaches you want. You got the players you want. You have no excuse at this point. I said it from the day that this all rolled out. When you asked me, Eric, is it national championship or bust? It absolutely is. Anything short of a national championship this year is a failure.
And Chris, you're not the only one saying that. The players are saying that.
Yes.
They all came back for this.
That's why they came back.
And I hate to boil it down to 5 guys on an offensive line, but in so many ways, guys, I'm telling you, this is what it's going to boil down to. They've got to be good.
Yes.
Donald and Karen, yes. I hate this. Have you seen this, Chris? The Love Conquers All sign that they have hanging up at the Woody.
I have not.
They all talk about love and love. We're family, brotherhood. We love one another. Win through loving. How about we just?
How about we go out there and stomp a mud hole in it, somebody, and walk it dry? Forget the love. Bring the nastiness.
I agree with you, Jeremiah, and here's why I agree with you. Oh, Brian Oberst. Ooh, Brian's bringing up something I got. All right, I'll come right back to you, Jeremiah, with your comment in just a second. Urban Meyer will be in the shoot. Yeah, because of Fox, right? He's going to be broadcasting. And you know Urban's going to come back and he's going to get with the crowd. He's going to pump the crowd up. He's going to wave. He's going to OH, and we're going to IO and everything. But will Tressel be there? Be on the lookout. If Jim Tressel's there, Chris.
Has Brian watched our video?
Brian, I don't think he has. I don't think he's a member. Maybe he is. I don't have my list in front of me. Sorry, Brian. If you are, I apologize. But be on the lookout for that, all right? Because that's going to be vitally important, in my opinion, if Jim Tressel's there, right? I don't have my list in front of me. No, I don't think so. Brian, you need to become a member, buddy. It's only $3.99 a month. Get you a T-shirt and go watch that video. Jim, Urban Meyer will be an analyst on the game with Fox. Yep. And actually, Dylan, you ain't wrong. He is the GOAT. All right. Donald, now that Gene is leaving, Tress will be welcomed back to Ohio State with open arms. I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Sorry. And Jim, Tress has been around a lot for spring workouts. Hey, Jim, go be a member. Join the channel. $3.99 a month. And then when you do, behind the paywall, members only, there's a video. Chris and I made it. It's been, a week and a half old now?
About a week and a half.
Go watch
got a theory.
It's not a theory anymore. It's been confirmed. It is legit. All right. Where are we at? Jeremiah. And 317, I see you. I'll come right back to you. We're going to take your phone call in just 1 second. Jeremiah Yoder. What do you mean if we beat Scum? Ohio State will beat Scum in 2024. Book it.
Better. It's a high school JV team at this point.
It is falling apart at the seams.
Wait.
In Ann Arbor.
If they don't get paying their NIL money out, they're going to be short some more guys here come this transfer portal opening up.
Guys, it is so bad right now in Ann Arbor. I'm loving it, but it is so bad.
Better than they do, Eric. Right now, everybody.
Did you know that there are players, and it has gotten out, that have not been paid their NIL?
Yeah.
They about to lose everybody in the portal. I mean, it could be ugly in Ann Arbor. We might be looking at a team that's, by the way, and if you haven't already, go put your bet in. Take the under on Ann Arbor, the whore known as Ann Arbor. They're giving. Vegas is trying to give away money with this team. I'm telling you.
It's still at what, 9.5, 10.5? They were 9.5, right?
They were. Are they still at 9.5? If they are still at 9.5, Vegas is begging you to take their money. It'll be so bad. And when the hammer drops, Vegas they'll do a buyout with you. They will buy your bet out because they know 9.5 is not achievable with that football team.
At 9.5, I'm telling you right now, go put down at least $5 bills. It'll be worth it.
All right, let's get to our first phone call of the night. Derek, what's going on, Derek?
Gentlemen, how are you this evening?
Dude, Derek, I am like I just sat down and Carlos Loughlin gave me the world's greatest motivational speech. That's how I feel tonight. I'm so pumped for this football team. I'm pumped for spring football. I'm pumped that the team in Ann Arbor is falling apart at the seams. If football season started tomorrow, I would be so ready, Derek. And unfortunately, we have a long way to go.
Yes, we do. But let's not forget, and I know this is a football show, let's not forget, Jake Diebler is kicking ass in recruiting as well.
We mentioned it at the top of the show. He did something that Chris Holtmann didn't do in 7 years as head coach. He landed a 5-star kid, happened to be right here from the Buckeye State, but Jake Diebler doing some things on the recruiting trail.
He absolutely is. And then also, not to mention, Mickey Johnson coming back home as well. I think that's going to be huge for Mr. Diebler and company as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got Michi coming back. Then you got his little cousin, the 5-star from Garfield Heights, and Marcus Johnson. So a little Johnson and Johnson happening for Diebler. He knows a thing or two about family connection, being the brother of Ohio State legend John Diebler. I'm pumped. I'm pumped for Ohio State athletics. The women just won the national championship in hockey, and by golly, we won the national championship in pistol. We'll probably win the national championship again in women's synchronized swimming. And don't be surprised if at the end of 2024, when we go to 2025, Your Buckeyes are going to win the national championship in football, baby.
Hey, let me tell you, we all remember what happened the last time a kid from Cleveland brought his talents home, right?
Are you LeBron in this right
I
right
just
now?
did. That's right. Hey, you know what? He came home. He won his title. He ran off like a little girl, whatever. But
He did win one.
he did win one for us.
Derek, what's
So,
on your mind tonight, man?
You guys have been talking excited about the spring game on Saturday. I know it's just obviously a glorified game for all of the 80,000 plus that are going to attend, but definitely can't wait to see how JJ Smith looks. I just have this feeling, and again, it's spring ball. Take it for what it's worth, but he is definitely going to look like a man among boys when those lights come on Saturday.
What if he doesn't? What if he never gets the ball thrown his way, or when he does, it's good defense. He's covered tight, and are you going to panic a little bit, or are you going to be like, it was just spring ball? Or are you so confident?
If he doesn't,
are you so confident, Derek, you're going to call your shot tonight?
You know what? The scenarios you just brought up, if he doesn't get the ball thrown his way, well then quarterback play could be a big question, just as it was last year. And if it's the defense, I'm not worried about it if it's the defense defending him, because Ohio State has the best back half in the country. I mean, they're not called BIA for nothing.
That's right.
But you know what? In spring ball, in the practices at least, he's been having his way with BIA.
He's been the only one, apparently.
You know what? That's true. That's true. But you know what? I think that says a lot about his ability.
It does say a lot about his ability, but it also says a lot about the wide receiving core, because who else is going to have the receivers at the skill position, the core that Ohio State has on their schedule? Who is that those defensive backs going to face that are going to be better than the receivers, the core of receivers that they're facing now?
No one.
Nobody. I said it before and I'll say it again. JJ Smith is the best receiver in the nation right now. Emeka Egbuka, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. Carnell Tate, very talented. Brandon Ennis, just roll on down the line with it.
The only team
It's
that would come close, I think, to putting out the offensive weaponry at the wide receiver position would be Texas, and that's because Quinn Ewers is throwing them the football. He's going to elevate those receivers in Texas, who are pretty good, by the way, recruiting number-wise. But are they as good as Ohio State? No. But Quinn Ewers, I think, is going to elevate their play. Now, go back. We were told this, Derek. I don't know if you saw the video with the K-State guys that we did. Cocaine Willie. I laugh every time. That's their podcast name. They challenged us to go back watch the K-State Texas game, and I don't know if you remember that game or last season or have seen it. Will Howard's play in that game. He played drive for drive with Texas and almost willed them to victory. And let's not fool anybody. He did not have nearly the roster that Quinn Ewers had in Texas in that game. Now he does.
He also didn't have nearly the roster he's got now. I don't even think Texas has a roster near as good as Ohio State's. I just don't think so.
So all of that being said, Derek, I'm excited for Will Howard, and after talking to the K-State guys, I think he can ball.
See, this is why you two are building the monster platform that you are. Because if Ohio State has a quarterback, and I think that was one position that they were one position away last year from competing for a national title, and that was it. But if they have a quarterback that went drive for drive with Texas and Quinn Ewers, who, correct me if I'm wrong, was in the college football playoff in the Final Four, If Will Howard
Yes.
can do that with and again, this is no disrespect to Kansas State, but if he can do that with the lack of talent around him at Kansas State, what is he going to do with the explosive weapons and plethora, word of the night, by the way, of talent at Ohio State?
And let's not forget, he went punch for punch with Missouri as well, and we all saw what kind of team Missouri had.
We couldn't punch at all against Missouri offensively. We couldn't punch our way out of a wet paper bag against Missouri in that game. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. You're absolutely right, Derek. Now let me highlight this. I'm not gonna say push back, but let me highlight this. I agree. Honda McCord, not nearly the quarterback. If you just look at them with your own two eyeballs watching football, he's not nearly the quarterback Will Howard was at K-State. But
Offensive line was an issue for McCord, though, too. I really
there
think
you
it
go.
was.
Exactly. And we brought this up with the K-State guys. Will Howard had an advantage the last couple years that Kyle McCord did not. And that is this. K-State had one heck of an offensive line.
Yes.
NFL talent. And I hate going back here again, Derek, but I got to. If the offensive line isn't improved, it might not matter how awesome Will Howard is. He's going to have to will differently. He's going to instead of trying to elevate his receivers, he's going to have to try to elevate the offensive line. And a quarterback can't elevate the offensive line. All they can do is scramble and make the offensive line look good with his legs, or the fact that he's able to get the ball out so fast to receivers who are just incredibly good at getting open really quickly, which Emeka Egbuka can, especially when he's in the slot. But I digress. Are you concerned, Derek, at all that the quarterback play will be affected or hampered if the offensive line doesn't improve in 2024?
Well, the offensive line does need to improve, but let me argue the flip side of this.
Beautiful. Bring it.
How effective is the offensive line? How effective can the offensive line be when you have a statue-like quarterback behind you that has one read, and it was to Marvin Harrison Jr.? If Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't open, Kyle McCord was lost. And in his lack of mobility, if he could actually move outside the pocket, that would have changed the whole defensive philosophy that's had to be played against him. But he was a statue and couldn't move. So does the onus fall on the offensive line for somebody that if his one read's not there and he can't move? I mean, they can't block everybody forever.
But this is the thing I would say with that. We watched the spring game last year, and Eric, you and I had our stopwatches, so to speak. McCord, and it didn't matter who was then there after McCord, had an average of less than 2 seconds to throw the ball. You need at least 3 seconds. You need to be able to take a 3-step drop and release the ball to be effective.
Now,
unless you're playing out of the shotgun 100% of the time, you need to have at least 3 seconds to be able to drop back, set your feet, and throw.
And even in the shotgun, the pocket collapsed so fast.
That
that's why it boggled my mind. We had the kid from Oregon State last year.
I can't remember his name. Very mobile kid.
Yeah, help me out,
Decent
chat.
arm, not great. Decent arm though.
In the spring game, he did well. You know why? Because he could move, man. He got out of the pocket, and even when the pocket collapsed, he got out. He kept his eyes downfield. He made the throw. He looked the best last year in spring game because of that very thing. If that happens again Saturday, if the pocket's collapsing, mark it down, Will Howard's going to look good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The kid's a big kid. He's a strong kid. He can run. He's going to look phenomenal.
Yeah, and the chat's bringing up something interesting, that there's people saying Will Howard's entering the portal. No way.
No, he's not moving again. He's He's there.
Can I say something else too? Everybody's saying that this thing is between Howard and Devin Brown. I don't think it is. I mean,
I think Devin Brown is
in
competing with Julian
theory it
Sayin for
is. In theory
I,
it
I
is.
think this is Devin Brown versus Julian Sayin for number 2 right now.
It might be. It might be. What do you think, Derek? I know you follow this stuff too. Do you think like we do that this is Will Howard's job basically, and that Devin Brown is competing to hopefully stay for backup, but it might be Julian Sayin that's backup when we're all said and done?
Man, that's the $1 million question. I would be shocked, first and foremost, as much hype that is around this season, that you are going to put the onus on a 18-year-old kid. I find that very, very tough to believe. So I would venture to say right now, quick depth chart, I would say Sayin is 3. I'm going to put Devin Brown 2. The reason why I'm going to put Devin Brown 2 is simple. He can't stay healthy. If he can stay healthy and on the field, I have no issue putting him at 1 and putting Will Howard at 2. I have no issue with that whatsoever. But it showed in the Missouri game, and anytime Brown got on the field, he can't stay healthy. So I would put him at 2, and right now, I would put Will Howard at 1, subject to change.
This is what I would say, and we haven't had the opportunity, and we're really not going to get to this week either. We haven't got the opportunity to see these guys in full contact practice. We haven't got to see them go out there and actually, really compete with the pads on, knocking each other around a little bit. Everything I'm hearing, and it was kind of reinforced by our friends from Kansas State, is when the pads are on, when the hitting starts, that's when Will Howard is at his best. It's easy to set back in practice when you're playing two-hand tap and throw the ball around, deliver it where it needs to be. There's a lot to be said for Will Howard with the experience, a lot to be said for Will Howard with the toughness, and I believe our friends over at Cocaine Willie used the word grittiness.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to be said for that in an actual game situation.
Derek, I'm going to run a suggestion by you, and I want to get your take. What would you think if I had the advice that I would give Ryan Day is this? Pick your number 1 quarterback now. Let him know you're my number 1 quarterback. You're getting all the first team reps. Pick your 5 starting linemen now. Let's develop the chemistry over summer now. Let's not wait. Let's not play patty cake on the offensive line. We're trying to find the best 5. Let's get them now. Get the chemistry built now. Get your number 1 out there now. Get your timing down with the receivers now. And if that means we lose Devin Brown, that means we lose Aaron Noland, so be it. You've got to go number 1 quarterback. Give me your 5 starters now. Let's roll with this thing now. Develop the chemistry. Let's not waste our time. Things are too important. I want your reaction on that thought process, Derek.
Eric, I think that's solid advice, and I don't see any other way how Ryan Day couldn't approach it that way. If he would come out and he don't have to come out in the media, but if he would go to those offensive players, quarterback and linemen that you just mentioned, and say, hey, you guys are going to be the 5 we're going to go to war with. Will Howard, let's just use him for an example. We're going to go to war with you. I don't see how anybody could second guess him. I don't think Devin Brown is a competitor. I don't think he would leave. Aaron Noland, again, falls under the same subject line as what I said for Julian Sayin. you're not gonna put the onus on an 18, 19-year-old kid that has never played a down of college football in his life to start at Ohio State right off the bat with all the hype and the expectations. There's no way. There's absolutely no way you're going to do that.
Derek,
If Nolan thinks he's going to come in and take that first snap, he's crazy.
Derek, can I introduce you to a man named Nick Saban who did it in a national championship game? He did do
He
that.
sat down a Heisman Trophy candidate.
That's one game.
Yeah, which is why I believe, hear me out, which is why I believe that Ryan Day is massaging this Julian Sain thing right now. He is giving himself a backup card, an ace in the hole, if you will, if you want to think of it that way. If things get swirly at the end of the season, he could pull that card out if he needs to. Not saying he's going to start game one. I don't believe that that's the thing. But I think that there is a possibility, there is a scenario out there where he looks at Julian Sain the same way that Nick Saban looked at Tua Tagovailoa. Stud freshman. If it calls for it at the end of the season, I'm going to pull it.
And you talked about this too, and I think Derek brought up a great point, Eric. Anybody, and he mentioned Devin Brown, but I think if we play it out the way you said, anybody who truly wants to be a Buckeye isn't going anywhere. They're just not.
It's a different era, Chris.
It is, but I mean,
NIL transfer portal era.
You talk about this though. If Devin Brown, who has come out and said, "I am a Buckeye," and if you don't believe me, you're a troll in your mom's basement.
But Chris, Julian Sain was in Tuscaloosa, Alabama first. So
Yes,
does that mean he wasn't truly a?
Well,
come on now.
Now, hear me out. I'm just saying that as far as Devin Brown goes, as far as Aaron Nolan goes, these guys are Buckeyes. They say they're Buckeyes. They've both come out and reinforced the fact that they're Buckeyes. If things don't go their way, they're still not going to be afraid to stay and compete. So you can name your starters now. Yes, you may lose. As you said, we may lose Lincoln. I think the odds are there. I think the odds are we are going to lose another quarterback. I don't think that we have 4 quarterbacks going into next season. I really don't, unless Aaron Nolan's on board to take a red shirt.
Ryan Day wants 4 in the room, and we might lose
2. He does want 4.
If we lose 2, we're going to pick one more up out of the transfer portal. But it's probably going to be a fifth-year senior who's like from Dublin, Ohio, like the kid from Kentucky that we got from Kentucky a couple years. Derek, any last thoughts, man? We got some calls backing up on us, brother. You coming to the?
I just think that would. I just think that would be ballsy for one. 2, I think that would be out of character for Ryan Day. And just to finish up there, you guys were talking about losing a quarterback. If you lose one, you still got one coming in the chamber in Tavian St. Clair. So, I mean, the cupboard's going to get refilled in a year anyway. So if you do lose one, are you losing any sleep over it?
Yes. I'm always losing sleep over something. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, it's such a crapshoot because Julian Sain has looked better than Aaron Nolan now, but who's to say Aaron Nolan doesn't develop and looks better in 2 or 3 years and comes back to bite you? So, Chris is always going to lose sleep about that. So,
I've got 2 words for you, by the way, Eric. Tristan Gebbia.
Thank you. Yeah, Derek, I want to see you Are you coming to the game, my man?
Oh, absolutely. I will be there Saturday. Absolutely.
All right. Swing by the tailgate. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook. You'll see where we're located that morning. We'll be there before and after the game. Swing by, say hi. Looking forward to it, my brother.
Will do. I'll see you guys on Saturday.
Sounds good. OH.
IO.
That's a good caller right there, my man Derek.
That's a great. Let's bring on another one, Eric. Let's have fun with this.
Yeah, that's a good caller. I like Derek. All right, man. Let's go. Let's go here. Let's bring on Sean. Sean's on. What's going on, my man?
What's going on, guys? I'd like to give a shout out to all the scoopers and my old friend and classmate Brian Oberst. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing great, my man. Thanks. Brian's been following us for a long time. It's good to have. It's so awesome you guys went to school together, and you're calling out all the scoopers. We love you guys, man. Just swinging on by here after getting done talking with Nevada Buck and Kurt. So it's awesome to have you guys here. What's on your mind tonight, man?
What do you think about the new line coach that they brought in, Drebno?
I think it's good, dude. And I got my reasons why, but I want to hear yours first.
Well, I think it's going to make Fry up his game. If not, there's actually a little, they're putting him on the hot seat for a little bit, he needs that because he's been missing on recruiting and the line's been down for the last year. So
why do you think we're missing on recruiting on the offensive line? Why do you think we struggle with that?
My honest opinion is, have you heard Justin Fry talk?
I have.
Have you watched his interview? He rubs me the wrong way, man. Maybe it's just me, but I think he's kind of arrogant. That's just, I don't know. He just comes off that way to me. Maybe that's just me thinking that way, but
well,
obviously he's not connected with somebody,
He is from Indiana, and it's not exactly O-line U. So I mean, there is that. Let me tell you why I like the new O-line hire. This is Chip Kelly guy. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you know who else was a Chip Kelly guy? Justin Fry was too.
Fry.
Yep.
And sometimes, just like Ryan Day admitted, you kind of lose your way a little bit. You've been in the woods so long, you kind of lose your way, and you need to go back to the basics of what you learned. And as an offensive line coach, I think maybe Justin Fry, this is just me thinking outside the box, maybe Justin Fry was having trouble trying to coach the offensive line under Ryan Day's scheme and theories, even though technically it was born, that his offense was born from the loins of Chip Kelly. We understand that. But having Chip now in place as OC might benefit Justin as the O-line coach because it's going back to his roots, which made him really successful to begin with. Justin's best years as an offensive line coach were under the leadership of head coach Chip Kelly at UCLA. Just a theory.
Well, the thing is with Chip Kelly. Sorry, Boggs.
Go for it, man.
No, I was just going to say Chip Kelly was also a line coach too, so that's also another plus. Not only was Chip Kelly an offensive coordinator and a head coach, but he was actually an offensive line coach too.
And a quarterbacks coach.
A few years of doing that.
And a quarterbacks coach. Yeah, Chip Kelly's coached it all. He's been around the block a time or two.
Yeah, he even coached defense for a year or two. So he said it helped him learn the game a lot better.
It would. It absolutely would. The more positions you get familiar with, the more things you know what bothers you. Like, I hate when a team does this and it bothers me. And so then you can add that to your repertoire as a coach when you flip back to the other side. So I think it was Tyler a week ago mentioned that one of the things he liked about Carlos Loughlin was that he coached high school football. Yeah. And when you coach high school football, you do it all. You're coaching it all. You're not only coaching every position, you're coaching the kid at the end of the bitch who's filling up the water bottles, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing it all. And he liked that. And there is something to say about going back to the basics, going back to your roots. And I can't help but feel that Justin Fry has a little bit of that familiar voice again, coming back. And you know what? We're bringing in another offensive line coach who understands my system, The three of us together are going to get this figured out. I think it is critical, Sean. I think this is the most critical thing this offseason, maybe even more critical than picking the starting quarterback, is getting the offensive line play right in 2024. You agree or disagree?
They have to, yes. It's a must. If the line doesn't go, then that team won't go. I mean, if they can't protect the quarterback, or if they can't run the ball, then they're really going to be screwed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I hope that, I mean, Drevno has a really good track record of having, physical offensive lines. So hopefully he brings that toughness, which I don't know if Fry doesn't coach, if he's not one of those rah-rah coaches that gets the toughness out of the guys or what. But I think having not only Chip Kelly, but Drevno there with Fry, maybe that's what he needed.
You know who does get toughness out of his room?
Carlos
Lockley.
Exactly. No soft patch cookies there.
No, sir.
I love that guy.
That guy walked in and said, "Measure my neck. Now go do what I tell you to do." Okay?
Well, that's because he's the best running back in the room.
You want to run through a wall for him.
Oh my gosh, he is so awesome, man. Like that guy.
Yeah.
Hear me out. That guy is not going to stay as a position coach very long.
No, he's too motivated. I mean, in 4 or 5 years now, 5, 6 years, he's moved from a volunteer in the weight room to the running backs coach at one of the top programs in the country.
5 years.
5 years. That guy is going to be a coordinator somewhere within the next 3 to 5 years. He will be an offensive coordinator.
He might skip coordinator because he's like, I don't want to call plays. Just give me the team. I'll hire someone to call
plays. He'd be a good head coach. Yeah, he'd be a real good head coach.
He's a great motivator.
You can tell he's got a lot of good leadership qualities,
Hey, Sean, do you ever watch the movie Varsity Blues?
Oh yes.
You remember when old Billy Bob and Moxie and all them guys they went to the old gentleman's club. The teacher was doing a little shall we say dancing?
Yeah.
And remember what Billy Bob said? She's a what? She's a 10.
A 10.
Jim just said Coach Locke is a 10. Coach Locke's a 10.
I just remember Tweeter couldn't concentrate catching the ball because he couldn't stop thinking about her,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, I got to get a Tweeter jersey. Like if I get one jersey this year, Chris, I'm getting a Tweeter jersey.
I could probably make that happen for you.
Well, I think I could. I think I'm gonna make. I found a place. I'm gonna make that happen. We're gonna see if we can't get that done. Sean, what are you looking for Saturday at the spring game? What are you excited to see?
I'm excited to see the backups. Actually, I want to see how good the second string guys are coming along and the offensive line.
Yeah,
I want to see how good, like TJ Hicks. I want to see how he stepped up. I want to see how well Sonny's progressing at the linebacker position, and some of those guys that were second string last year that are going to get a lot of playing time this year. I want to see how they develop.
All right, I'm going to drop,
and of course the line.
I'm going to drop my prediction. Defense is going to dominate Saturday, and it's not because of what you think that the offensive line is terrible and the defensive line is dominating. It's because our secondary is too deep at every position, and once the starters are out, that second string is going to struggle offensively. It is well documented that the offense, after the starters are out, after you get past the top 4 or 5 wide receivers, that the receiving depth in Brian Hartline's room compared to the secondary is actually less than the secondary is better. I would not be surprised if the second, third, and fourth quarters are dominated by the defense because, well, they're just better. So that's my prediction. And so keep your eye on that.
Well, it takes offense a longer time to gel too. You know what I mean?
True.
Usually the defense is ahead at the beginning anyways.
True.
So, I mean, you're going to have, of course, the offensive line has been, except for the one position, they started every game almost last year, so they should be, you would think, a cohesive bunch. But I agree with what you were saying earlier. You need to get your find your 5 starting linemen and your quarterback and say, that's it, go, get your chemistry going.
Exactly.
You can't keep playing musical chairs with the positions like that. That's very important for an offensive line. You got to build that chemistry.
Yeah. It's one of those things, the offensive line, it's like, all right, guys, you guys are building a wall around the quarterback. Everywhere he walks on campus, you guys are in front of him. Like it's a mindset. It's a mentality. No
Yes.
one's going to touch my quarterback. And when someone does, it irates you so much. It's really sad in my book, in my opinion, that last year in the Cotton Bowl, when our quarterback was getting crushed, who was most upset? Do you guys remember who was upset about it?
Kate
I remember
Stover.
Kate Stover had a nut. Yeah.
The tight end should not be the one who's upset about that. It needs to be you as an offensive lineman. Like, there should have been some face masks grabbed. Now, I know the coach can't do it, but there's nothing in the rule book that says a player can't grab another player's face mask and get in his face. No one did it
Yep.
on the line. Who's the dog on the line? Who's the alpha?
That's a good question.
It was supposed to be Donovan Jackson. He's supposed to be in the NFL already. He's back this year. He better be a dog this year. If Jimmy
But you got to have
Simmons
someone that's
becomes
going to
the
hold everybody
dog,
accountable.
if Jimmy Simmons becomes the dog, Sean, I think about that for a minute. As much as we dogged him to become the dog on the line, okay. Someone
You
better
got to
step
have
up.
someone. I mean, you got to have the one guy on the line that's going to be the leader. You got to that's going to speak up and hold everybody accountable and say, give the guy a kick in the butt when he needs it.
Maybe it'll
they
be
can
Seth.
have that. I mean, it was Kate Stover screaming at people, and that shouldn't have been Kate Stover doing that.
It's not his job. And he was playing on a
No,
bad
and you're
wheel.
right. It should have been.
He was playing on a bad wheel, a bum shoulder. His back was out. I mean, gosh, the kid was like the Tin Man with no oil. And he's out there screaming at the offensive line to get their act together. It was embarrassing. And if that happens again this season, at any point in the year, it is unacceptable at this point. It's unacceptable.
I agree.
And I hate to be the guy that's out here pushing this, as they would say, a narrative. It's not a narrative. It's the truth.
Right.
It's what beat us last year, and it's what will beat us again if we don't get our act together. And so, I want to see it. That's what I'm looking for, Sean. Anything else in the spring game you got your eyes on, my man?
I just want to watch JJ. I want to see a couple big plays out of him. I can't get enough of the highlights, so I'm excited about him.
What if he doesn't shine like we all think he will? Is that going to worry you at all?
No, because everybody can have a bad game. I think he's got too much talent. And I kind of want to watch Sane, too, because that guy just has such a smooth delivery of the ball. And that's a thing of beauty to watch him throw. So them are the things that I'm kind of, excited about.
Us too, my man. Are you heading to the game Saturday?
No, my daughter's got a soccer game, so I got to go to Toledo for her soccer game, so I won't be able to.
I will make a phone call for you.
It.
I will make a phone call for you. That soccer game is going to be canceled. You need to be at the shoe with us, man.
I will be there for the Michigan game, though. I do have the ticket for that. So I will be there for that.
That boy. Thanks for the call. We got another caller here, Sean. I appreciate you calling in, big guy.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Have
guys.
a good night,
you have a great program.
OH.
IO.
Go Bucks.
Hey, Eric, just real quick. You keep mentioning what's going to happen if JJ has a down game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's all remember, Justin Fields did not have a breakout performance in his first spring game. That turned out okay.
It did turn out all right. I know. The hype is so much with
it is
Jeremiah. The hype is so much, man.
Well, he's out there looking like a combination of Odell Beckham and and Calvin Johnson out there with his dynamic catches. I mean,
I know. Tyler, welcome to the program tonight, man. How you doing?
I'm good, Eric. I'm good. How you doing?
We're doing great, brother. Good to have you call back in this week. I appreciate that, man. Are you a little excited for the spring game, my brother?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. I'm excited to see the potential of this team.
What are you what
And
when you say potential, talk to me, brother. What are you talking about? Where do you think the best part of this team is going to be?
quite honestly, Eric, I think the best part of this team will be the defense.
Yeah. I agree with you. What part of the defense do you think's the best?
And the reason why I think it's the defense is because the fact that we went to Ann Arbor last year. We almost beat them in Ann Arbor if we had a quarterback. We had the defense. We just added Caleb down. We upgraded the defense. It was already fantastic.
Good point, brother. We have upgraded we have upgraded an even. It's kind of like the guy at the drag strip with the fastest car, and then he upgrades. Like it's like unfair, right?
we didn't upgrade. We put NOS in that thing, man.
Exactly. We added the best player from the best team in the South, according to who won the SEC, right, and made it to the college football playoff. And we took their best player from their defense and we put it on what is probably the best defense in the North in Ohio State, and we just made a super team, if you will, super defense. So you bring up a really good point, Tyler, in that. But let's flip over to the other side of the ball, buddy. What are you excited to see Saturday from the offense? Who are you looking to watch on the offensive side in the shoe?
I really want to see how Judkins runs and all. How Carlos Lockett has implemented the running physicality to his run game, where the previous coach, yeah,
Tony
I
Alford.
think that I think that I'd like to see how the runners, how different the physicality is compared to previous years.
Right. Now keep in mind though, Tyler, that first quarter it's not gonna look like real football. They're just gonna play glorified two-hand touch. So
I know. I'm looking down the road, Eric. I'm looking down the road.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that, brother. We need to see what kind of speed bumps might be out ahead. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And so, speaking of looking down the road, I remember earlier in the show, you and Chris mentioned about the NIL program with our rival.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always like to look. I'm always a guy that likes to look down the road, not at the very moment. I like to look down the road. Well, how many with the NIL program of Michigan? How many players do you think they're going to lose?
I'll tell you right now. I'll say this: if they haven't paid the studs they have on defense, they're going to lose at least 2 defensive linemen, and they better have paid Will Johnson, because if they lose him off that back end, they are in a lot of trouble.
The rumor I heard today, and this is just a rumor.
I've heard up to 5 off the defense.
5 defensive players alone. 5. So and that's not talking offense, but the offense had already lost a lot. But could you imagine Braylon Edwards is not on that offense?
You're thinking of Donovan Edwards.
Donovan Edwards.
Braylon Edwards hasn't been on that offense for
In a
about
long
2
time.
decades.
Donovan. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Maybe there is legs with Dallin Hayden going that way if that's going to happen. I mean, I hate to say it, but there's going to be plenty of carries there if, Edwards isn't there. I don't know, dude. Like, it could be ugly. It could be ugly, Tyler. It could be very, very ugly. And quite frankly, I'm all for it. I'm happy if it's ugly. I want it to be.
I'm all for it.
I want it to be.
They could be set back decades. They really could by what's going on right now.
Okay, hold on now. It took Jim
Especially
Harbaugh.
if sanctions kick in as well.
It took Jim Harbaugh 5 solid years to build it back up. Right?
And all he had to do was cheat to get there.
Touche.
Yeah.
Touche.
Connor Stallions.
Touche. Maybe they have to find Connor, get him back out there. I don't know. But I know this much, Tyler. I don't know if you're a betting man, but if you are, you better go lay some money on the under on the team from Ann Arbor. That's all I'm saying.
I can't wait. Because I got a bunch of I have a bunch of Michigan fans that are I talk to on a regular basis, Eric. And let me tell you, they keep thinking that they're going to go back to a repeat. They're talking about they're going to repeat for a national championship.
With who? They don't have anybody to repeat with.
I know. And what are you They're talking about, Donovan Edwards is going to be
he's no Blake Corum
again in the horseshoe.
Guy, they were the most delusional fan base in all of sports up until somehow through Connor Stallion's magical cheating program, it gave them the confidence to somehow get over the hump against Ohio State, and then it was like a snowball rolling downhill from there for them. Well, that snowball eventually, when it gets to the bottom of the hill, it falls apart.
It's going to crash.
It falls apart. It's done for. That's where they're at.
It's moving so fast now, it's melting.
They are so delusional. And I cannot wait for them to lose. Let's go pull up their schedule real fast. This is going to be fun. All right? Because you know what?
I'd love to see Appalachian State Part 2.
It might happen.
Before you start, Eric, before you start, how is it, I don't know if you, because I'm a very observant person, how is it that damn near all of their toughest games, other than us, are at Ann Arbor?
Luck of the schedule, man. I don't know. It's how they. It's just luck of the schedule for them. But they're all at home, but still. All right, here's their schedule. All right, here we go, Chris. You tell me they win, lose, or it's questionable. All right, and this is with the caveat that they're going to lose some people in the portal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They open the season at home against Fresno State.
They'll win that.
Week 2, Texas.
Texas beats
loss.
That's a loss. Week 3, Arkansas State. That's probably a win.
Probably a win.
They'll win that.
Week 4, USC.
I think it's a loss. Especially if they lose around the portal.
That's an iffy game.
Tyler, if they lose their best defensive players in the portal, it's a loss.
It's absolutely, because that's the only thing.
Exactly.
That's the only thing that can keep this team in the season right now is their defense.
Week 5, home against Minnesota. That's a coin toss.
That's an iffy one.
That's
should be a win.
Game. I'll
Week 6.
You know what? I'll be generous, Eric. I'll give them that win because it's Minnesota. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Week 6 on the road, their first road test. They go to Seattle to play Washington. Again,
That's
Washington's not the same
Washington's
team.
lost a lot.
I'm telling you straight up, though, they're going to lose that game.
You think?
Yeah,
You
I
think
do.
they're going to?
Their first road game, they could be 2-3, 3-2. They're doubting themselves. That fan base is rabid. Michigan's coming to their home. That is the loudest stadium in college football. Do you guys know that?
Especially if they get a couple of wins. If Washington gets a couple wins under their belt,
Mm.
it has some confidence rolling into that.
All right.
And they're going across the country.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see it.
Then they get a bye week, their first bye week, and then they're on the road again. And this one in Memorial Stadium, Champaign, Illinois. Illinois plays them tough every time. Illinois had them beat 2 years ago.
Yeah, Birdie could pull it off.
I think they should win that one, but just like Minnesota, that's a coin flip. All right, then they come back home, and they're taking on in-state rival Michigan State. Michigan State, again.
They'll win that game.
Hold on. Michigan State is going to be much better.
Yes.
They have a better coach. They have a better roster. Again, if they lose a bunch of people to the transfer portal, if they are on this bad losing streak, I'm telling you, this is going to be a dogfight for them. Then the very next week, the very next week.
Eric, I said that. I want to interrupt, but I was just like, the only reason I counted that originally as a win for them was because I didn't know about until this information came up today about their NIL program.
Right.
So I'm kind of like trying to rethink of how many wins they actually might have.
Right. All right, let's keep going because I'm telling you, this is crazy. November 2nd, it's going to be an L. They welcome in the Ducks.
Oregon's going to destroy them.
Yep, Oregon's going to destroy them.
November 9th on the road against Indiana. That should be a win, even with their second
because Indiana
string
is just god awful. They are horrid.
Yeah, Indiana and Northwestern, they're the same caliber team. They're just that terrible. They should not even be in the Big Ten, what they are.
Northwestern is a pretty good team.
They went 7-5 last year. 8-5 if you count the bowl
8-5
win.
with the bowl win.
Well. How much, guys? I'm glad you mentioned that because I've always. How much is that of the fact that they played the Big Ten West? Some of those games.
Well, of course, that's a factor.
And now with the expanded Big Ten with SC, Washington, and Oregon, and then possibly down the road, Florida State joining, and then possibly Notre Dame joining. Like, do you see Northwestern winning 8 games? I don't. If those teams join.
I'm looking it up right now. Northwestern went 1-2 against the Big Ten East last year. They beat Maryland, and they lost to Penn State and Rutgers. Anyways, they get them at home. It should be a win for Michigan.
Yeah,
it should be. And then they travel to Columbus. That's going to be an L.
Yeah, that's gonna be a massacre.
So what have we got? What have you got them at, Eric? 6-6?
1, 2, 3. I have 4 auto wins. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 auto losses, and I have 4 coin flips.
So you've got them at a 6-16.
Yeah, I have them out. I have an over/under right now. It's at 8 wins for them.
I think I had them at 7-5 when I started looking earlier.
And with the new NIL problems that they've not been paying their players, I might go thinking the under. I might take the under. Imagine they don't keep Will Johnson.
They don't keep Will Johnson. They might as well just phone in the season.
If they, can you imagine? Just hear me out. This is a very possible scenario. They go from winning the national championship to not going to a bowl game the very next season. And it's not even
It's
because
very possible.
they're being
Of a bowl
sanctioned
ban, yeah.
by a bowl ban. It's
Which is also
because
very possible.
they are just that bad. All this Sharon Moore love that everybody's talking about, which, by the way, Tony Alford even talked about one of the reasons why he's so happy to be in Ann Arbor is because of Sharon Moore. Okay?
I give him 3 seasons.
That fan base
I give them less.
will turn on that man so fast if they don't make a bowl in their first year. And trust me, you better believe myself, you, everybody else who watches this podcast is going to rub their noses in it. Hey, look who's in the house, Skeeter. Skeeter, I was talking about you earlier in the show, rubbing my face in that Cotton Bowl. Are you all keeping divisions with the new teams coming into the conference? No, there are no divisions in Big Ten anymore.
Eric, I've got to correct you on something. It's not you all, it's y'all.
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 SEC is done away with the East and West. Tiebreakers are going to be fun and frustrating. Y'all need to play 9 games in that there conference there, Skeeter.
Yuns.
That's what you need to do.
Yuns need to.
Yuns, y'all need to play
Yuns
9
need to.
games. Hey, eventually the SEC's got to go to 9 conference games, right, my man? I mean, I think that's what you guys plan on doing. Yeah, and Skeeter's thanking you for correcting my improper Southern English there.
Well, I got a little bit of hillbilly in my blood, Eric. So I know how that goes. So
You got a little bit of everything in your blood, brother. That family tree's got some long branches, brother.
I can tell you.
Tyler, you going to the spring game Saturday, my man?
I can't. I am. I've been. And I'm thinking about going to the game.
Okay.
So I'm trying to save money for the rivalry game.
All right, brother. Well, hey, man, thanks for calling in tonight, man. It's getting late. I'm about ready to wrap this show up. I appreciate you calling in, brother.
And good night, Eric, Chris. Great show.
Appreciate you. OH, brother.
IO.
Good show tonight, Chris. Good show, guys. Hey, we're excited. Spring game Saturday. Again, I want to say it one more time. Go hit the join button. $3.99 a month. That's all it costs. $3.99 a month. Hit the join button. Go watch the video that Chris and I did about Jim Tressel and the theory I have. I'm telling you, it's real. It's real. It got solidified this week.
We need some X-Files music going when you're talking about
And
that.
who was it that mentioned, it might have been Brian Oberst, said something, it might have been him, about
Ryan Day wearing the sweater
Ryan
vest?
Day busts out the sweater vest Saturday. I might not make it out of the stadium. Chris, I might have a heart attack. I might, the heavens might open up and I hear God's trumpet sounding. This old boy might be going home if that happens. You know my love for Jim
I
Tressel.
feel like he's got to save that for the national championship game.
Yeah.
That's when he busts that out. It's a psych out move.
Hey, I'll take it anytime. I'll take it anytime he wants to give it, man. Oh, gosh. So Saturday, be on the lookout for our tailgate. We're either going to be in the northeast parking lot on the northeast corner of the shoe, or we're going to be back by St. John Arena. One of those 2 spots. Chris and I are going to go there early, look for something with got some grass on it, set up our tent, bring our chairs. We might throw some cornhole that day. We're going to be grilling hot dogs after the game. So we're tailgating before and we're tailgating after. So we're looking forward to having a great time. You're all invited. Either one. I know that there's a lot of listeners coming in the morning. I know Carl's going to be there. I know one of our members, Jeremy Thomas, is going to be there.
Don't forget the man.
Mike Wargo is going to be there.
Mike Wargo's going to be there.
So it's going to be a great time. We want to invite you all to come out, hang out either time, talk about the game. Chris and I are planning on, we'll see how we feel, planning on doing a call-in show possibly Saturday night. So we'll see how that goes. But even if we don't do a call-in show, Don't worry. We will be back Sunday night to talk about all of it. And I think Sunday night, Chris, there might be a little Ric Flair.
Woo!
I was thinking, Chris, you know what we should do Sunday night? We should all cut promos from the spring game.
I love it. Let's do it.
We all get 1 minute to cut a promo about the spring game, and then let the fans vote on who cut the best promo. I think that would be good. That would be a lot of fun. Thank you guys in the comments and the chat for. Oh Lord, Skeeter, you son of a gun! First Buckeye win since week before the rivalry week. Son, it's also going to be another loss depending on how you look at it. The spring game's always a winning. It's always a win and a loss, brother. That son of a gun, Skeeter.
I so hope Missouri finds a way into the playoff because we owe them just a little something.
Oh yeah.
We know we'll be there.
Yeah.
We know
yeah.
we're going to be there.
Oh gosh, great guys. Hey, go do me a favor. Go check out our website, theohiopodcast.com. Chris wrote a great article about the previewing the transfer portal. I just got done writing an article earlier before we got on about Marcus Johnson, the new recruit. Go check that out. Go to thecollegehuddle.com. Gosh, go find this article that this crazy guy named Skeeter wrote about his team. He's got an article on there. We got all kinds of great articles, all kinds of great content. Go check out the College Huddle. 70. We got 2 more, Chris. Did you know that?
No, who'd we pick up?
Since we launched, we got 2 new. We got the Pitt Press, which is New Mexico, University of New Mexico, the Lobos, and we got the Wyoming. We got a Wyoming podcast. So we got the Cowboys.
Got the Cowboys.
Yeah. Thanks for all the good compliments, guys, on the show tonight. We appreciate it. We will be back either Saturday night or Sunday night. Depends how we feel. Like we said, we appreciate all of you. Please consider joining us. $3.99 a month. Get yourself a T-shirt after a month. Go check out that video Chris and I did. We'll have more just like that coming your way. Till next time, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen Ohio with all your heart. OH!
I-O!
Goodbye.